She could hardly keep steady work. My mother's voice cut across the courtroom, sharp and cruel, carrying enough venom to pierce through bone. Heads turned, eyes pinned to me as though the verdict was already written. Heat climbed my cheeks, humiliation burning through me. She wasn't just my mother anymore. She was the one pointing the finger. The silence that followed felt heavier than the walls around us. Then the Chief Justice slowly rose from his chair, his stare locked on me, unblinking, weighing me down. Before I go further, make sure you subscribe and share this story, because what came next no one in that room was ready for. I wanted to shout, to lay the truth bare. But my throat closed up, words trapped inside me. My mother's smirk said everything. She thought the battle was already won. Behind me, my relatives whispered loud enough to sting. Josie's always been useless. She can't keep a job, let alone carry any responsibility. Their voices twisted in my stomach. They had no idea what I'd kept buried all these years. No one did. The judge slammed his palm against the desk, his voice carrying like a whip. Is this really the story we're supposed to believe? Or is there something you're hiding from us, Josie? His tone wasn't just curious, it was a challenge, daring me to prove every single one of them wrong. And in that instant I knew. The secret I'd carried was the weapon that would wipe the smugness off every one of their faces. But not yet. I wanted my mother to feel the exact sting of betrayal when the truth crashed over her. She leaned forward, her voice dripping honey but laced with poison. She's my daughter, Your Honor, and it breaks me to say this. But she's reckless. Unstable. She abandons every job she gets. She can't even cover her rent without begging. How could she possibly be trusted with something this serious? The courtroom filled with murmurs, each whisper like a blade slicing deeper. My fists clenched under the table, nails digging into my palms. Emma, my cousin, snickered behind me. She's finished. There's no way the judge gives her anything. My uncle folded his arms, muttering, "What a waste of potential." Same as always. I wanted to stand, to shout that they were blind, that I had been building something in silence they couldn't even imagine. But unveiling it too early would dull the strike. They'd mocked me for years, painted me as weak, as worthless. Now I finally had the chance to turn the story on its head. The Chief Justice lifted a hand, silencing the noise. His eyes didn't leave me. "Miss Josie," he said, his voice cutting through the air like thunder, "do you have anything to say in your defense?" My pulse raced, lips trembling. I opened my mouth, but before sound escaped, my mother cut across me again. "Don't waste your time, Your Honor. I know her better than anyone. Josie can't hold a job. She can't handle responsibility. Giving her authority would ruin everything." Her words split me open. But I stayed still, lowered my gaze, let them believe I was beaten. Inside, though, I smiled. Every insult, every jab was fuel. They had no idea how sweet the reveal would be. The judge leaned back, fingers drumming against the desk, his face unreadable. "Very well," he said slowly. "If Josie is truly what you claim, then none of you have anything to fear from her. But if she isn't," he paused, and the silence burned hotter than fire, "then perhaps we are about to witness something none of you expected." For the first time, my mother's smirk faltered. Her eyes darted toward the family lined up behind me. Years of feasting on my silence, mocking me at dinners, laughing behind my back, all of it was starting to collapse. "Josie," the judge said, his tone firm, final. "You've heard the accusations. But I want your voice now. What is it you'd like this court to know before I decide?" Every stare in the room bore into me. Emma leaned forward, grinning wide. "She's got nothing. Just watch, she'll choke." My uncle scoffed under his breath. The weight of silence pressed against me. I let it linger, feigning hesitation. My mother folded her arms, convinced I was seconds from breaking. She didn't know that instead of crumbling, I was about to strike. I lifted my head, steady and deliberate, my voice sharp as glass. "Yes, Your Honor, I do have something to say, but I won't rely on words alone. I brought evidence. Gasps rippled through the chamber. My mother's smile vanished, color draining from her face. Evidence? What kind of evidence could you possibly have? She snapped, her voice climbing in pitch. I slid an envelope across the table. The judge motioned to the clerk, who carried it up. The room froze, the air charged like a storm about to break. Adjusting his glasses, the judge flipped through the documents. His brow tightened. Then, suddenly, his eyes widened. Miss Josie, he said, voice cutting like a blade, are these official financial statements registered under your name? The courtroom erupted into a frenzy of whispers. My relatives strained to see, their faces stretched with disbelief. My mother's lips quivered. No, this can't be real. I met her stare, my voice calm, unshaken. You told everyone I was worthless, incapable of holding a job. But while you were busy tearing me down, I was building. Quietly. Relentlessly. And now, the very stones you tried to bury me with are the foundation that makes me stand taller than all of you. The judge slammed his palm against the desk. Order. His command carried, but even he couldn't stifle the chaos unraveling around us. That was the moment the first crack split through my family's wall of arrogance. The gavel struck again, but the murmurs wouldn't die. Relatives leaned close, whispering frantically, darting looks between me and the papers in the judge's hands. My mother's voice shook as she tried to recover. Your Honor, there must be a mistake. Josie doesn't have that kind of money. She can barely pay for gas. The judge's glare silenced her instantly. These accounts are legitimate. Verified. Linked directly to her name. He flipped another page, his voice tightening. And these are ownership records. Businesses. Properties. Miss Josie, you're not simply stable. You're among the wealthiest people in this courtroom. The chamber gasped as though struck by lightning. Emma's jaw fell open. My uncle cursed under his breath. My mother's hands clutched the chair so tightly her knuckles blanched. I leaned forward, my anger sharpening into something more powerful. You branded me useless. You testified against your own blood. But all along, I was the one keeping the ground beneath your feet from collapsing. My companies supply half the contracts this very courthouse depends on. My mother shot up, her voice ragged, breaking apart. Lies. She's lying. She's inventing this to humiliate me. The judge didn't even glance her way. His eyes remained fixed on me. Miss Josie, will you tell this court the value of your portfolio? The silence stretched until it burned. My family squirmed in their seats. Finally, I let the words fall slow, deliberate. $9 million. The chamber exploded. Shouts, gasps, cameras flashing, reporters scribbling. My mother reeled backward as if the number itself had struck her. For years she had paraded me as a failure. Now the truth revealed her as nothing more than a liar desperate to chain me down. And still, they hadn't heard the full truth. Because 9 million is only the surface, I said, standing now, steady as stone. My eyes swept across every mocking face. Emma, my uncle, all of them. What none of you knew is that I've been the silent partner in the very company that funds your lives. Every paycheck you've spent, every home you've rested in, was possible because of me. The room went still, air sucked from the walls. My uncle's face drained white. Emma covered her mouth, eyes wide in horror. My mother staggered back, lips moving without sound. I pulled another stack of papers from my bag and slapped them down on the table. Here. Deeds. Business registrations. Contracts. Every line signed in my name. While you mocked me for not holding a real job, I was building an empire that owns your future. The Chief Justice rose to his feet, his tone stern yet edged with respect. Mrs. Miller, he said, turning toward my mother, everything you've claimed about your daughter is a lie. This court recognizes not only her capability but her proven success. From this moment on, her rights are fully protected. Any attempt to slander or undermine her will bring legal consequences. The gavel struck like thunder rolling through my chest. My family sat paralyzed, their pride shattered, their schemes in ruins. I inhaled deeply, then fixed my gaze on my mother, my words sharp enough to cut the silence. You tried to bury me. But you forgot something. I leaned closer, my voice steady, cold. I was the seed. And as the courtroom erupted into chaos, I walked out, not the girl they had laughed at, but the woman who now owned everything they swore I could never have.